delighted to be here to share with you the love of my life. The Billy W. Sills Center for the Archives and the man himself. And you'll notice that I titled this presentation, One Man's Dream, One Man's Creation. And that's the truth. He did it almost single-handedly. And you are going to be absolutely amazed, thunderstruck, awestruck. Well, who was Billy Sills? Before I even get to who was Billy Sills, I want to introduce Barbara Sills, his wife. Stand up, lady, do something. She's the fine woman that you find behind every good man. And Billy Sills was definitely a good man. But who was he? Well, he was a teacher. First and foremost, from the time he stepped into a classroom in about 1950 until the day he was no longer with us. He never, ever stopped teaching, or when he found the opportunity or a body in front of him, he was a teacher. He was an administrator. He was actually, during the time that I was a social studies teacher, he always wore the same hat. He had a jig in different titles. I don't know what it is about school districts in particular who think if you change the title, it adds some aura or something. But I always refer to him as social studies consultant because that's what he was when I worked with him so closely. But I think he was program director, anyway, supervisor. He had lots of different titles, but always the same huge hat. He was a musician. I often refer to Billy as the true epitome of a Renaissance man. There just wasn't much that he ever attempted or that he did do that was not tops, just the best you could be. He was a musician. He sang in the choir. He was a choir director. I first met Billy at Inglewood Methodist Church a million years ago when I was a little bitty kid. And he and Barbara, I remember when they got married. It's been that long ago, Barbara. But he was the choir director at the church there. He was a scholar. He was a teacher always. He was always teaching. He was always learning. Every opportunity he had, he took something from whatever situation he happened to find himself in. Friend, there was not a truer friend to anybody. He was a friend to everybody. I heard someone a minute ago say, oh, I liked Billy Sills so much. There was nobody he met that didn't go away saying, I like that man so much. He was the quintessential historian. And you will see that. If you come visit the archives, you'll see it. You'll see it in these pictures that I show you. He was always looking for that opportunity to collect something, to find something. He saw the need, felt the need to preserve our history, to preserve what was happening around us. In fact, I used to say that, now he was a social studies consultant, and he was one of those that went out to the buildings, he worked with the teachers, he was always guiding, leading, helping, whatever he could do. But I always said that before he ever went to that classroom to visit the teacher, he visited the dumpster. He went dumpster diving because most of his treasures, most of these things you're going to see in the PowerPoint and most of the things that you see when you go to the archives, he found either in the vicinity of the dumpster or in the hallways of school buildings getting ready to go to the dumpster. So he was always looking for these treasures. And I think you're going to see as we go through these photos that the Billy W. Sills Center for Archives is one of Fort Worth's greatest treasures. So that's Billy Sills. And if you didn't get to meet him, didn't get to know him, I weep for you. He was, yes.
Before, I was afraid she was going to leave it. When I was working for the then Deputy Superintendent, Walter Dansby, when they were getting ready to move Billy's archives out of the ad building. And we went to the building where it is now. But the thing that I wanted to make sure that you knew, that the board members would even come, former board members, because Billy would speak, he would be in attendance at every board meeting, but they would ask him, why do we have this policy about naming people? Why did they change? Why did we just never do this? He knew it off the top of his head. And when she talks about him dumpster diving, it was some of his best friends were in the maintenance department and the custodians, because they came to him. He sent me on a undercover mission, if you will, in a certain high school where he knew certain things were missing. And the head custodian took me into the rafters. This is where they last were. So he had all manner of sources. It was just, and he never said a word about it, just kept it quiet, smiled. I'm sorry.
That's wonderful, because that leads me into this, well, sort of, I'll get there in just a minute. But why did he think this was so important? What is the archives? Well, it's a repository, a safe place for materials and artifacts related to the Fort Worth ISD and to what you did for so many years. And why does it exist? To collect and preserve educational materials. He was all into preservation, keeping and remembering where we've been and what we've done and where we're going. It's also a wonderful collection made available, that can be made available to educators and the community for study and research. And it is used in that capacity from time to time. And to collaborate with local schools and community groups in the study of educational history. That's what it is and what it's about and why it exists. So where has it been? Where did it get its start? Now this is where Ann is the expert. It started first in Billy Sills' garage. And it still exists somewhat there. I get a call from Barbara every now and then. She said, Lenna, I've been in the garage. Or I'm cleaning out a file cabinet. And a few days later, here she'll come with an armload of material. So it started out in Billy's garage. From there, it was moved to Riverside Elementary School. From there to Oakhurst. From there to Alice Carlson. There was a period of time there when Alice Carlson closed. And the archives occupied the stage and out into where the seats had been in the auditorium. It was at Arlington Heights Elementary School, there on Camp Bowie, and in the Fort Worth ISD ad building in the dungeon somewhere. And from there, finally, it got a home, a deserving home for what Billy had collected over the years. Metro Opportunity High School, I have the address on a slide that's coming up later, but on Cullen Street, over there near the ad building.
And Lenna, when we moved there, when we moved to this place, I tried to do some research to get comparable, what other districts were doing. And I like to do research on the computer in all sorts of places. It doesn't exist. Kansas City came close to having something. Dallas ISD came to look at us, took one look and said, oh, heavens no, we could never. We are unique in the United States of America, a public school system that has the record.
And it's all thanks to that man, yes, in large part. And to these people. These people also shared, along with Ann, shared Billy's dream. Barbara Sills, of course, his wife, who tolerated being garageless for much of their marriage, I think. Lawrence Maynard, who some of you may know, he was a wonderful teacher. He is a wonderful man and wonderful friend too. And Leon Mitchell, who taught at Eastern Hills high school for many years. He was the main researcher. He had no social life. He died of bachelor because he was at the courthouse. He was out at the schools. He collected volume after volume of things he put together himself about every school, not only in the Fort Worth ISD, but in the Tarrant County schools as well. A phenomenal collection of all kinds of material. The hours he spent at the courthouse, I cannot imagine. But much of the research material we have is thanks to, let me see if I can do this, thanks to that man right there. And he too was a wonderful friend, wonderful scholar, wonderful teacher, wonderful. I have been very fortunate, haven't I? Yes. I have just worked with some of the best. And what will you see when you come visit us? Get ready, hold on to your chairs. We're going on an adventure. Well, you'll see all kinds of artifacts. And I don't know how this started. Suddenly I was inundated. Now I am a poly person. Oops, excuse me. Oh, let me get back right quick. I hit the wrong button. All of this is poly. Even the prom dress belonged to a woman that she graduated in '58 and she's still that size. Hate her. Don't like her one little bit. But we have, for some reason, oh, that's my husband right there. And his jacket.
From Polly.
From Polly, yes, he's Polly too. But we allow a few other schools to donate their things. If they happen to come in with them, we will grudgingly put them out for others to see. But that's our display of clothing. I don't know that well, I'm sure other archivists have gone online to order dress forms, but anyway, I did that too. You will see a replica classroom, and this will bring back more memories than you can imagine. The little desk, you remember these little desks with you remember those? On the runners, the little seats flew up, all kinds of things. This is our little replica classroom.
Flag with 48 stars.
Yeah. We have a picture, the old George Washington picture that all the classrooms used to have. We have that too. That's in our archives. We have a room this is the principal's room. Early school history. This is Greenby Trimble's desk.
We got that again because a shop teacher at Tech called us and said, I have found his desk down in the basement.
Oh my.
Someone needs to get it. And they said, send it to us. And see, Billy got to the point, his reputation was so well known that people came to him. We had the genuine Duke University sheepskin of Robert L. Paschal because the Paschal family wanted it in the archives. We have the original photographs of Isaiah Mellon Carroll and his wife, and the first teachers and the first graduating class, because the former registrar wanted it to come to the archives. So it is astounding what we have because of him, and just even though he's not with us anymore, because of his reputation.
And we've just begun. We have
Barbara, one day when it was up on the bookshelf, 10 flights up, it looked like. Now, Ann, be careful with that. And I went, blink. And he said, don't you dare.
That's a Tech Bulldog. That's a much better mascot than a parrot or a frog.
Or a stingery.
Yeah, stingery. And this is A.B. O'Connor in the photograph.
Holding, but resting on the bulldog.
Yeah, his resting on top of the bulldog right there. And this is Sam Houston. Now, I'm not sure what school he came out of, but we have a few of these artifacts that have come from schools that are either closing or They have decided that some part of the structure is not suitable, and we get it at the archives. If we can get our hands on it, we get it. Can you believe this? 2 pianos from schools, well, I don't know, it could have been other than elementary, but now if you ever come to the archives, you know where we are. We're on the 2nd floor of at Metro Opportunity High School, and for the first 5 or 6 years that the archives was in Metro, there was no elevator. So these pianos were stashed in offices downstairs until we could find some way to get them up to the 2nd floor. Finally, they put in an elevator, and here we are.
But I still don't know what happened between the ad building and this place to, I'm glad you're sitting down, he also saved cornerstones. Granite, big old, massive cornerstones. Somehow, I don't think they made it.
They're not there.
Oops.
They have disappeared. Don't know what happened. But these are gorgeous pianos. They don't sound very gorgeous, but Van Cliburn wouldn't be caught playing one. But they're beautiful pianos. Furniture, we have all kinds of furniture. This piece came out of George Clark Elementary School. But we have a bookcase right there from